And now to the latest in the El Chapo trial right here in New York. We're in week 6 now, and Jorge Cifuentes is back on the stand being cross-examined by the alleged drug kingpin's defense team.
Yesterday, the former drug supplier for El Chapo testified El Chapo wanted him to make meth, but he refused to sell him the ingredients. Well, joining us now is Paul Batista. He's been following the case very closely. So it's sort of interesting, Paul, because Cifuentes says that he can't make meth essentially because it's like immoral.
He says that to El Chapo.
Yeah, he won't sell him the ingredients because that's going too far. Never mind pounds and pounds of cocaine.
It was kind of staggering testimony, right. And it's amazing how some people have a moral distinction here, and yet for something equally immoral. Hey, I'm not going to do that.
What do you think?
Cocaine is okay, heroin's fine, but meth ruins people's lives.
The defense attorney yelled at him.
Well, the defense attorney had a ball yesterday. I can tell you as a defense lawyer, there is nothing more exciting than yelling at a witness who has made an absurd distinction. Now, in this case, the judge said to the defense attorney, tone it down.
Right.
In which case, the defense attorney, I thought, like a perfect actor, whispered into the microphone, and cocaine is not damaging to children? And got a great answer.
So Cifuentes,
what was the answer? He had a great answer?
The answer was, I don't think so.
Oh, goodness. All right.
We're dealing with drug dealers here. So he also challenged the FBI, Cifuentes did.
Yes.
How so?
Well, you know, most people don't understand this. FBI interviews are not recorded. So we don't know what happens in an FBI room. And the way this usually happens, it's called a proffer debriefing session, where the alleged defendant, the potential defendant, tells his story. But he tells it, and the FBI agents in the room, and there are always 3 or 4 because they travel like nuns, they make notes. Then they go back to their office, and they compose their notes in what are known as 302 forms. And it is often the case that those 302 forms, at least according to your client, are fictionalized accounts that recount what the FBI wanted to hear rather than what the witness said. So this witness, Cifuentes, when read the FBI report, said, I didn't say that.
Of course. Prove it, right?
Yeah, right.
So El Chapo's wife was not in the courtroom yesterday. I heard that he was swiveling around looking for her. She's been there every single day. What's going on with that?
Well, that no one has an answer to that. She's, as I think I've said, she's building a platform for a post-El Chapo career. Even her PR people and everyone associated with her had no explanation for where she was. What was fascinating to me is that little El Chapo spends the entire day glancing around the courtroom to see his 30-year-old younger wife. And it's like being a little league baseball player looking for your mother in the stands.
Right.
And she's not there. So it was
Maybe it means something more than we know.
We'll see. The story will come out.
Right, it will.
Yeah, the story will come out.
So, you know, we've talked a lot, Paul, about the Gotti case. And I wonder if, you know, John Gotti, for those who may not remember, was the head of the Gambino crime family here in New York City, the biggest mafia family at the time.
Wasn't he the Teflon Don?
And I was going to say, the Teflon
was acquitted 3 times.
3 times. Every time they couldn't get the goods on him until his trusted lieutenant, Sammy the Bull Gravano, started talking to the feds. Do you see any similarities here at all?
Well, I see some. I see Sammy Gravano, extremely handsome, extremely articulate, answers in details about all the murders and things he's done. And his testimony is focused, it's literate, and it's about John Gotti. Here, I see streams of witnesses over 5 weeks who really have not had any direct contact with El Chapo in more than 20 years. There's a difference between a rifle shot and a blunderbuss. A rifle shot, which is what Gravano did, always works better. And of course, as a result of that trial, Gotti was convicted. I happened to be on that trial, not representing him. And he was convicted, went to jail.
But also, Gotti, if I recall, there were also FBI wiretaps. I mean, that one, I remember distinctly the one of him talking about DB, the man that he allegedly killed. And you could hear him on the tape saying it was me that took care of DB. Right?
John Gotti had the biggest mouth in the world. he would go into restaurants fully knowing that right under the table there was a legitimate FBI recording device. He was a flamboyant dresser, unlike heads of other crime families who looked like accountants. They hated him because he drew attention to himself. And those recordings had validity, they were clearly his voice, and he sank himself. And ultimately, 5 years later, died of cancer in a high-security prison.
We'll have to see how this all plays out.
Yep.
We're on it.
We will.
The weeks continue. Paul, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Paul.
Nice to see the two of you.